This is a safety briefing for small bore target rifle shooting. This is a .22 caliber small bore target rifle. If you follow the instructions of this safety briefing video, you'll be able to operate it in complete safety. Now, there's a few things you'll need to know. This is the end that is placed against your shoulder. The other end is where the bullet comes out. And this is the trigger. The bullets we use look like this. And the target you'll be shooting at is this. As you can see, this one's already been shot, and there are bullet holes on each of the diagrams. And the place that you will be shooting them is on the range. And the range looks something like this when you're lying down looking towards the targets. As you can see, there's a red light down here, and each of the targets are down the end. So if we zoom in and have a look, that's mound 1's targets, mound 2, mound 3, and so on. Now, the most important thing to know is that without a bullet, this rifle is perfectly safe. Unless, of course, you drop it on your foot, which we don't recommend because this rifle costs several $1,000s. We can tell straight away that this rifle is safe because it has the red flag in it. This red flag goes in where the bullet does. If the red flag can be seen, then there's no bullet in this rifle and it's perfectly safe. But even with the red flag in, you should always treat the rifle as if it was loaded and always point it in a safe direction. The red flag stays in the rifle except when it's in use on the range. So let's talk about how you use the rifle on the range. Before you enter the range, you'll be told which squad you're on, that's the group you'll be going down in, and which mound you're on. You'll be allocated a rifle, and when it's time for your squad to enter the range, you'll carefully carry your rifle into the range and place it on your numbered mound. On the range, you'll be under the control of the range officer. He or she will give you specific commands on when and what you can do, and you must obey them at all times for your safety and the safety of others. For your hearing protection, you'll be wearing earmuffs, so even though the range officer will give their instructions loudly, you may still need to listen carefully out for those instructions. If you have a look around, you'll see there's a red light on. This is a warning that the range is not clear for shooting. For example, people may be down by the targets changing them, and the last thing they want is a rifle pointed at them. Whenever that red light's on, you don't play with your rifle, you don't hold it up to your shoulder, you don't aim it towards the targets, and you definitely do not load a bullet into it. When the range officer has determined that the range is clear, they'll turn the red light off and they'll tell you that the red light is off. Then it's time to get the rifle ready and to get into the right position. Remember the red flag? Well, now's the time to remove it from the rifle. If you're a new shooter, you may be shooting off a rest, which will look something like this. You'll position the rifle so that it's on top of the rest at about this place here, and not on the barrel. So just place it about there. You'll also be given a wooden block containing your bullets. It will look something like this. You'll notice that there are 3 bullets to the left hand side here, and those are your sighting bullets. And then you have 1 bullet for each of the diagrams around your target. The range officer will say that you may load and you may start. Okay, now you can load your rifle. So how do you load your rifle? Well, you'll remove the red flag So you can see in this rifle the red flag's been removed, and you take a bullet and you slide it into here, and then you lift the rifle up and make sure that this part of the rifle is against your shoulder, that this part is pointing towards the target, and then and only then do you close the bolt by sliding it forward and down. Now your rifle is fully loaded and ready to fire. So where are you going to aim? Your target has these 11 diagrams on it. Your first 3 bullets will be fired at this one in the middle. They don't count towards your score, but they do let us see where you're pointing and make any adjustments if necessary. You then shoot the next bullet onto here, and then work your way along in this order, and down to the next row, down to the bottom row, and then along to the last one. If you have a close look at your block, you'll see that it's laid out in the same order as your bullets. There are those 3 for there, and then each one of these relates to one on there, and so on. After you've taken your shot, you'll slide the bolt back up and back, and then that will eject the old cartridge, and then you can load up the new cartridge, the new bullet, and then go through the same thing, placing the rifle against your shoulder there, making sure it's still sitting on there, pointing at the target, and only when that's all ready do you then slide the bolt forward and down and ready to take the next shot. There's no need to rush. Take your time and line up each diagram in your sights like this. Looking from the back of the rifle, you can see the sights. Here's the bolt out the side, which by then you will have pulled forward and down to lock, but this one's open for demonstration purposes. You'll be peeping through this little hole here and looking all the way down through there towards the front sights at the front of the rifle, and in the middle of that circle, way in the distance, you'll line up your target. So what you'll see inside here is a ring, that's that one there, and inside that ring is a little dot, which will be your target way down in the distance. When you've got all 3 of those lined up, gently squeeze the trigger and the shot will be fired. The hole that your bullet makes in the diagram is so small that you can't actually see it at this distance, so somebody will be looking through a telescope at your target to see how you're going, and they'll adjust your sights if needed. After you've fired all your shots, slide the bolt up and back to eject the last cartridge. Take the rifle off the rest and gently place it down and insert the red flag. Then just relax quietly until everyone else is finished. When everyone has finished, the range officer will ask if everyone's finished, just to make sure, and if so, tell everyone to insert their red flags and to throw the brass, that's the ejected cartridges, forward from the mound. The range officer will then turn the red light back on. Once that's done, you can pick up your rifle and leave the range. Now, one final word about safety. The bullets are made of lead, and the targets you handle may have lead dust on them. Wash your hands well before touching any food. So let's recap on the most important safety points. Treat every firearm as if it is loaded at all times. Always point the rifle in a safe direction. Keep the red flag in whenever you're not shooting. When the red light is on, you leave your rifle alone. Only close the bolt when your rifle is up against your shoulder. And follow what the range officer says at all times.